Imagine for a moment that rejection didn't exist. Not because you're guaranteed to succeed every time, but because your mindset is so calm, so grounded, that the outcome no longer has power over you. Picture walking into a conversation with a woman, not hoping, not begging, not overthinking, but simply existing in such a way that she feels drawn into your presence. What if the reason most men fear rejection is because they approach women in a way that gives away all their power before the first word is even spoken? That's what we're going to uncover here. You see, the key to getting any girl without facing rejection is not about memorizing pickup lines, acting like someone you're not, or trying to impress her with grand gestures. It's about understanding how women think, how attraction truly works, and how stoic self-mastery keeps you from ever being at the mercy of her response. The truth is, rejection only exists if you give it the power to exist. When you learn how to approach women with this mindset, combined with a deep understanding of female psychology, the very idea of rejection dissolves. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and you'll see why this isn't about tricking women, but about becoming the kind of man who naturally doesn't get rejected, because rejection isn't even part of his frame. Now let's dive into the core. The first truth you need to accept is this: women respond to energy before they respond to words. A man who approaches a woman with nervousness, hesitation, or desperation is already rejected before he opens his mouth. On the other hand, a man who approaches with calmness, a sense of presence, and without expectation gives her no resistance point. That is female psychology in motion. Women are wired to pick up on subtle emotional signals, and if you appear as though her validation is necessary for your sense of worth, she instinctively feels turned off. But if you walk into that same interaction with no neediness, you stand out immediately. This is stoicism in practice, controlling yourself instead of trying to control her. Another principle to grasp is that attraction is less about what you say and more about how you carry yourself. Think about it. When women talk about a man who swept them off their feet, rarely do they describe the exact words he used. They describe his energy, his calmness, his confidence, his ability to make her feel at ease. To avoid rejection, your focus should be on mastering your presence. Speak clearly, don't rush, and don't fill every silence with nervous chatter. The man who is comfortable with silence communicates strength because he is not performing, he is simply being. There's also an important psychological principle. Women are drawn to men who are selective. When you approach every woman as though she is your only chance, you communicate scarcity, which lowers your value in her eyes. But when you carry yourself as a man who has options, who is content with his life, who does not chase but instead chooses, you reverse the dynamic. Women respect men who respect themselves. That means no begging, no convincing, and no trying to prove your worth. A stoic man doesn't enter a conversation asking himself, "Will she like me?" He asks, "Do I genuinely like her?" That subtle shift eliminates the possibility of rejection because now you're not placing her on a pedestal. You're simply exploring whether she fits into your world. One of the strongest strategies you can use is mastering detachment from outcome. This is where most men fail. They tie their self-esteem to whether or not a woman gives them her number, smiles at them, or agrees to go out. This dependence creates tension. Women sense it instantly, and it pushes them away. Instead, realize that the way she responds reveals more about her than it does about you. Maybe she's having a bad day. Maybe she's in a relationship. Maybe she's just not interested. None of that is rejection, it's just reality. When you view it that way, you're never truly rejected because you never invested your self-worth in her answer. The Stoic approach is simple. Control what you can, accept what you can't, and remain unshaken either way. Now, let's talk about subtle actions that communicate confidence without a word. Eye contact, for instance, is one of the most powerful tools you have. Not a forced, overbearing stare, but relaxed eye contact that communicates you are grounded and present. Pair this with a calm tone of voice, measured speech, and a relaxed body posture, and you create an environment where she feels safe and drawn in. Another action is the ability to smile at the right moments. Not a forced smile that seeks approval, but a genuine one that shows warmth. Psychology tells us that women are most attracted to men who combine strength with approachability, and these cues strike that balance. It's important to realize that women often put men to the test without even being fully aware of it. They may respond with indifference, a teasing comment, or even mild resistance. Most men panic at this stage and retreat, seeing it as rejection. But in reality, these are tests of your composure. If you laugh, stay calm, or respond playfully, you show resilience. The moment you flinch, you lose her interest. Female psychology works this way because women seek men who are emotionally stable and can handle pressure. When you pass these tests through stoic calmness, you demonstrate that you're not easily rattled. Now let's address a deeper point. The fear of rejection is really the fear of judgment. Men fear that a woman's no defines them as unworthy. But rejection isn't personal, it's just preference. Think about it. You don't find every woman attractive, and you don't feel guilty for it. Likewise, she doesn't have to find every man attractive. The Stoic mindset recognizes this truth and eliminates the ego's need for validation. You stop taking rejection personally, which paradoxically makes you far less likely to face it because women sense your inner freedom. Another subtle but powerful principle is leading with curiosity rather than performance. Many men approach women trying to sell themselves, rattling off achievements, making jokes, or forcing conversation. This is high effort, low reward. Instead, shift into genuine curiosity. Ask her about her thoughts, her perspective, her passions, but do it from a calm and grounded state, not as an interrogation. Curiosity works because it takes the spotlight off you and places it on her, which makes her feel seen. Most men talk too much about themselves. The man who listens and asks thoughtful questions stands out. To make this practical, let's walk through a scenario. Imagine you see a woman you'd like to approach. Instead of building pressure in your mind, remind yourself she's just another human being. You don't need her, you don't fear her, you're simply curious. You walk over calmly with open body language and say something simple and direct, like, "Hi, I wanted to meet you." You're not performing, you're not apologizing for existing, you're simply stating your intent. This calm, clear approach communicates confidence without arrogance. If she engages, great. If she doesn't, you remain unaffected. Either way, you didn't get rejected, you simply explored. What separates men who always get rejected from men who don't is their frame. Rejection only stings when you're operating from need. When you embody abundance, self-respect, and stoic calm, you can't be rejected because you never placed your identity on the line. Women are naturally drawn to this energy because it signals maturity, stability, and confidence, the very traits they seek in a partner. Let's end with a reminder. The goal is not to trick women or manipulate them into liking you. The goal is to refine yourself into a man who doesn't depend on external validation. When you master your presence, detach from outcomes, approach with curiosity, and hold yourself with quiet confidence, women respond differently. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real, grounded, and unshaken. That's how you get any girl without getting rejected, by removing the very conditions that create rejection in the first place. So remember, it's not about chasing every woman. It's about becoming a man who attracts naturally, a man who is calm under pressure, a man who knows his worth without needing to prove it. That's the stoic path to attraction, and when you walk it, rejection fades into nothing more than an illusion. If you gained value from today's video, show us some love by tapping that like button and subscribe to the channel. I will see you in my next video.